with Dayo.
Good afternoon to you. Welcome to Hard Factor 92.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dayo. It's 9 minutes gone past 3 p.m. It's the 24th day in the month, August, I believe is the month, and it's Tuesday. It is Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah, Tuesday. The Tuesday edition. Welcome once again. It's a cold and a wet day in the city of Port Harcourt. I hope the weather is fairer if you're listening from outside of Port Harcourt. But whatever the weather's like, I hope it's been a fine day nonetheless. Welcome once again. And from now till about 7, we keep the conversation going. So, a few matters going to be addressed on the show today. We'll be tending to them in a moment. And you're welcome to join the conversation via the usual platforms. A reminder, we are live on facebook.com /Nigeria Info PH. That's facebook.com /Nigeria Info PH. Yeah. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Just search for Nigeria Info PH on YouTube. You can leave your comments via WhatsApp as well. I will get to those at some point in the course of the conversation. Okay, so let's see. Matters to be discussed on the show today. So, side comment is up in a moment. As usual, random stories, random thoughts that I came across as I checked out the news. And there's random stories and thoughts of mine, of course, will not be discussed at this time. No, they won't. Until much later on during the open season segment. And that comes up after the major news at 6 p.m. I'll be taking your thoughts on matters you may have missed out on, including the side comments, which once again are not up for discussion at this time. Alright, so let's see. After today's side comment, I do have a rant coming up, something in my mind, to be expressing some thoughts on that. And you're welcome to express your thoughts on my thoughts all the way till 4 p.m. Yep, we'll wrap it up at 4 today. 4 o'clock features the business news, and after that we move on with the discussions. Talking about moving on with the discussions, the matter coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. A luta continua for VAT, as indeed the struggle continues, apparently, I suppose, as far as who gets to collect VAT and other related taxes, for also, I believe, personal income tax is one of them as well, one of the subject matters of contention. But possibly, well, inevitably, eventually, it will become a contentious matter between all the states in the country and the federal government. But for the moment, it appears to be between the River State government and the federal government. We'll check out the story from the Vanguard newspaper. State government, not FIRS, entitled to collect VAT-related taxes in Rivers, court declares. Now, here's a bit of the story. A federal high court sitting in Port Harcourt, River State, yesterday, now this was probably some days ago, last week I believe, held that the River State government and not the Federal Inland Revenue Services, FIRS, was the rightful authority to collect value-added tax and personal income tax in the state. Trial Judge Justice Stephen Pam also restrained FIRS and the Attorney General of the Federation, both first and second defendants in the suit, from collecting, demanding, threatening, and intimidating residents of River State to pay FIRS both PIT and VAT. Justice Pam, in his judgment in the suit by the Attorney General for River State against FIRS and the AGF, granted all the 11 reliefs sought by the Rivers government. Now, the court held that there was no constitutional basis for the FIRS to demand and collect VAT, withholding tax, education tax, and technology levy in Rivers or any other state of the Federation, being that the constitutional powers and competence of the federal government was limited to taxation of incomes, profits, and capital gains, which does not include VAT or any other species of sales or levy, other than that, or those specifically mentioned in items 58 and 59 of the exclusive list, the exclusive legislative lists of the Constitution. And the judge dismissed the preliminary objections by the defendant. The court lacks jurisdiction to hear the suit, and that the case should be transferred to the Court of Appeal for interpretation. Well, we'll look at that later on in the 4 o'clock hour today, I suppose. However, as a follow-up to this particular story, there's been some other development as well. Story here cuts at Premium Times. Ignore Wike continue to pay VAT to us, FIRS urges Rivers taxpayers. The Federal Inland Revenue Service has urged taxpayers, especially those in Rivers State, to continue to pay their VAT to avoid paying penalties for failure to do so. Adedayo Elusakin, Director of Communications and Liaison Department of the FIRS, gave the advice in a statement on Sunday in Abuja. All right, so well, we'll discuss that. Whose right is it really to collect VAT, personal income tax, and other such taxes in the country? Is it the federal government or is it the state government, as the High Court in Port Harcourt has ruled right now? We'll look at that matter in the 4 o'clock hour. I'll be having with me for that conversation Barrister Festus Aguchi will be my guest for that. Between 4 and 5 after the business news. Now at 5 o'clock we've got the news update coming up, and we dive into some other matter after that. Is something wrong with continuous voters registration process in Rivers State? Is something wrong with the process as it's been implemented? Well, Algon in Rivers State appears convinced something is not quite right, because the Association of Local Government of Nigeria, Algon Rivers State chapter, has expressed displeasure over insufficient and malfunctioning INEC registration machines deployed to the 23 local government areas for the ongoing continuous voters registration exercise. Now, Chairman of Algon, Olwale Hunda, while speaking on behalf of the group during a protest at INEC office in Port Harcourt, said Algon will resist any attempt by INEC to depopulate Rivers State ahead of the 2023 general elections. Olwale Hunda, who is also the chairman of FALGA, gave the Commission 7 days ultimatum to upgrade its servers to capture more eligible voters and decentralized to registration exercise or this exercise to the ward level. He assured that Algon will give INEC necessary support to ensure a hitch-free voters registration exercise in Rivers State. Now, Chairman of MOI, Chidi Lloyd, and his counterpart in Akokotoro, Roland Sekibo, also spoke to newsmen. Let's hear what they had to say, Chidi Lloyd and Roland Sekibo on the matter. Just a moment.
Within 1 week, we will sort out this place.
As far as we're concerned, nothing is working, and we believe that it's a plot to de-enfranchise Rivers people. You know, the beauty of democracy is a game of number, and people should be allowed to make choices unhindered. But with what is going on, we are seeing that it's a plot to perpetually put us in servitude, and that is what we're protesting.
All right, there you have it. So we'll look at, we'll discuss that situation in the 5 o'clock hour after the news update, and several talking points. But what shortcomings are there with a continuous voters registration exercise, especially here in Rivers State? After the news update at 5. Headlines 5:30 p.m. Major news at 6. And open season is up after that. If you missed out on any matter discussed, make sure to get your thoughts during that segment. Till about 7, when we wrap it up, the sportsman will be in for extra time. And that's it. That's the show for today. Do you stay tuned and join the conversation, if you will. So to keep the ball rolling right now, let's take a look at some of those random stories that I came across earlier on today, and my thoughts on those random stories. For the 1 billionth time, a reminder, they will not be discussed at this time. But it's quite remarkable what's playing out with the People's Democratic Party. A high court in Rivers State has granted an interim order restraining Uche Secondas from parading acting as the PDP national chairman. Justice Okogbele Gasim of the Degima Division of the Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt gave the order on Monday. Now, the order prevents Mr. Secondas from functioning in any committee at ward, local government or state level, or calling for any ward, local government or state congress pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice for interlocutory injunction. The ex parte motion marked PHC / blah 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 was fired by 4 persons, Ibiawichi Alex, Dennis Amadi, Emmanuel Stephen, and Mezeriki Onucha. Secondus and the PDP were listed as the first and second respondents to the suit. Remarkable drama playing out, and I hope you got your popcorn ready to watch the saga. I don't know what saga can describe it. Saga is playing out with the People's Democratic Party right now. I mean, it's got lots of intrigues, thriller, maybe some action, I don't know. Definitely plenty of comedy, no doubt about that. Definitely plenty of comedy. But, well, once again, get the popcorn ready. I hope it's set already as you observe the saga that's played out with the PDP. I'm sure we have plenty of time to discuss the intrigues within the PDP in the coming days, weeks, and possibly even months as well. So let's see what has caught my attention on the news today. Mass gathering will be restricted in Edo State to curtail the COVID-19 pandemic. Governor Godwin Obaseki disclosed this while flagging on the second phase of the COVID-19 vaccination exercise on Monday. He said from the second week of September 2021, large gatherings will only be accessed by persons who have proof of taking at least 1 dose of COVID-19 vaccination. He said from the second week of September, people may not be allowed to worship in churches and mosques without showing proof of their vaccination cards at the gates. Now, I do understand that, you know, the need to protect people. I do get that. Sorry, I just want to do a quick a quick check. I don't know. I think as a last count, I don't know if Nigeria has received up to 10 million COVID-19 vaccines. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I'm not sure that in all Nigeria has received up to, let's see. Once again, I'm not quite certain, that we received in all 10 million COVID-19 vaccines or doses, if you will. And so I'm just wondering, what is the yardstick, what's the parameter here that the Edo State government is using, really? Because it's good that the Edo State government is encouraging people to get vaccinated, and that's a very good thing. So government has been proactive in that, with that, and that's fine. But once again, with a population of about 200 million, and I repeat, I'm not certain that Nigeria has received, up to 10 million COVID-19 vaccines. So, how are you going to restrict people's movement on the basis of not having been vaccinated? Because even if everybody in Edo State wants to get vaccinated today or tomorrow morning, it's literally impossible for them to get vaccinated. Literally impossible. It makes you wonder sometimes how we think of policies, how government thinks of things in Nigeria. I mean, highly illogical, It's like somebody just wakes up one day and just says, let's do this thing. It looks as if it's good. You don't design public policies that way. It's not determined by what side of the bed you woke up from. These are things that are going to affect the lives of millions of people. Anyways. Well, I do hope that the Edo State government will have a rethink. I mean, you can enforce other procedures, you can enforce other protocols, social distancing and all of that. You can instill a mask mandate if you must, But once again, how do you go about insisting you can't get into places if you've not been vaccinated? And I think total vaccinations to date in the country is about, I think it's about 3.9 million. About 3.9 million, I suppose. And once again, I'm not quite certain we've received up to 10 million doses, really. Yeah, but anyways. So away from that, what else caught my attention today? Let's see. Guessing there were a couple of other matters, I suppose. Oh no. Sorry, something going a little not right in the studio over here with my monitor. Okay, I got it back right now. Aha! So let's see what's going on. Anything else? I think there was something else that may have caught my attention earlier on. I think so. Oh yeah, English language teachers in public schools in Rivers State now write full comprehension passages on on the board due to lack of teaching, learning and writing materials. Principals and teachers of various public schools in Obiakpo and Port Harcourt City local government areas told our correspondent that they have not received impress to run their schools in almost 2 years, and the schools board has not supplied learning materials to schools in the last 6 months. They said they pay out of their pocket to provide materials like board markers, lesson notes. Now, to me know, there is currently a free primary and secondary education policy in the state as announced by Governor Esemwike in 2019. I'm not quite certain how to feel about the English language teachers in public schools speaking out. I wonder, do they have an association or union or something? Maybe they do. But the question for me, once again, a fundamental question is, where is the NUT in all of this? Where is the union of teachers in all of this? What are they saying? What are they doing about this? To what extent are they engaging the Rivers State government or the Ministry of Education in Rivers State on the subject matter? Because it's extremely worrisome. However, so often we talk about the decadence and the rot in the education sector in Rivers State and the decrepit state of infrastructure, state-run schools, primary, secondary, or basic level, as I think they refer to these days. It's quite very disturbing indeed, extremely disturbing. And we have a free education policy, and we hear for months, no impress, no supplies, no teaching aids, and you wonder what the heck is going on. And also the news, our correspondent learned that the principal of Umwebulu Community Primary School, where children sit on the floor, has been summoned by the school's board over a report by Nigeria Info that highlighted the decaying infrastructure in the school. She has been allegedly threatened with demotion following the report. And the question is, why are you threatening? If it did happen, once again, allegedly. But if it did happen, allegedly, that she's being threatened, I mean, who is kidding who here? Who's kidding who? If you're embarrassed or ashamed that the schools are the way they are and children are sitting on the floor to write exams, if your shame is a genuine one, is the solution to demote a principal? Of course, on the assumption that that's the case, allegedly. If you are ashamed about the report, what you should do is you fix the schools. You fix the ceilings, you fix the roofs, you fix the windows, ensure they have power, electricity, ensure they have bathrooms, they have toilets, they have water, and sanitation is addressed. If you are that ashamed about the whole thing, if shame, as we say here, if shame is catching you like that, what they do in sensible places, in places where people think like proper human beings, is they will fix it. You will fix it. Not leave the school the way it is and go about chasing principal. What's the Rivers State government doing about all of this? What's the Rivers State government doing about this? And I've said this a billion times. And the easy, lazy explanation from some certain quarters might be, every government cannot face everything every time. Every government must face education every time. There's never a time when education should be relegated to the background. No, education, healthcare. There are certain things that can never be relegated to the background, or must always take center stage, must always be a priority of every government. Flyover cannot be a priority, cannot be ahead of education. It cannot in any sensible society. And I've said this a billion times, flyovers will help us get from GRA Junction to Waterlines, maybe 2 minutes faster. But education will take us to a future where flyovers will not be needed. All these flyovers will be demolished eventually. It's going to happen, it's fact. These flyovers, at some point in the future, I don't know how soon or how far away, but it's going to happen. Well, all those movies are anything to go by. Anyways, they're going to get demolished eventually. The only thing that will ensure we are still relevant in that future is not how many flyovers we build now, or how quickly we build them, or how many billions we expend building them. The only thing that will make us relevant then is our investment in education now. Once again, where is NUT in all of this? Us collecting dues. NUT, just collecting dues and keeping quiet after collection of dues. And the HA Council Chairman Adedayo has flagged off the construction of an ultra-modern market in Odufo Ward 8 community. Dr. Ayamu, during the flag-off in Odufo, said his government initiated the One Ward, One project in response to a series of requests from the various communities across the LGA to address specific challenges and also to complement the efforts of Governor Esomuke in HA and River State. Now, I need to say this, and it's very important I say this before I delve deeper. Markets are a good thing. It's a good thing that any local government chairman builds markets. It's a good thing, and I need to stress this once again. So, in other words, it's a good thing that the HA Council Chairman, Obin Ayamu, is constructing a market. You know, it's good. Markets are a very good thing. They are ideal. They make society decent, you know. Instead of people trading or displaying their wares on the roads or on streets or other inappropriate places, there should be markets. So it's a good thing. My only concern here, and it's a slight concern actually, nothing major, is this attachment of ultra-modern. Whenever our honorables want to either flag off or construct or commission markets, they call them ultra-modern markets. I remember some years ago as well. I think we're still having caretaker committee chairman then. I remember some years ago when a former caretaker committee chairman of one of the LGAs in River State commissioned an ultra-modern toilet as well within the council secretariat. And I wondered what was so ultra-modern about this toilet. You know, so the word ultra-modern is what once again gets to me here. Ultra-modern market, and that's it. And that's the ultra-modern market. Well, for the sake of the people of the order, I'm the break right now, and when I return, we get into today's round. Stay tuned. Hot Flash returns in a moment.
Information is a two-way thing. Nigeria Info, it's your turn. Let's talk.
We give the facts.
News entirely.
We give the evidence. Just to keep you informed.
News, weather. I get my information top of the hour every hour.
92.3 Nigeria Info. And now, hard facts.
Okay, Mark, it is Hard Facts 97.3 Nigeria Info and her input Harkat and Dayo. Thanks for staying tuned. 26 minutes ago before 4 p.m. I'd like to rant for just a bit. I've got something in my mind. I've expressing some thoughts on it, and you're very welcome to express your thoughts and my thoughts all the way till 4 p.m. And I'll start today's rant. For me, it's there's a dark cloud. A dark cloud has settled, is hovering over the country at this time. It's a very sad day indeed. Well, maybe not unlike any other day. We've been experiencing many sad days in the country quite lately. Hardly a day goes by that you don't hear of some tragic, horrifically tragic incident in the country. If it's not tens or hundreds of students being kidnapped in one go, it's some other terrible, unfortunate situation. It's herders, farmers clashes, people being killed in their numbers, kidnapped in their numbers, some terrifying, ugly incident transpiring somewhere or another, or some story of executive rascality or idiosyncrasies in government, or monumental thievery of gargantuan proportions and excessive looting of the nation's treasury. I mean, you name it. You name it, and it very likely happens in Nigeria just about on a daily basis. So almost every day is a sad day these days. But it's very unfortunate, even more so, the incident that transpired, which has formed the basis of today's rant. Story here, you may very well be aware already. Cut to the Punch newspaper. Bandits invade NDA, kill 2 officers, abduct 1. Now here's the story. Nigeria's foremost military university. Nigeria's foremost military university. The Nigerian Defense Academy. Now, it's very important to note, this is not some outpost somewhere. This is not a checkpoint. It's not a checkpoint. Nigeria's foremost military university, the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna, was on Tuesday attacked by bandits who killed 2 officers and abducted 1 other. The bandits invaded the permanent site of the institution located along Airport Road, Afaka, in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State around 1 a.m. And a source to that correspondent that the hoodlums who were dressed in military camouflage beat the guards and headed for the officers' quarters of the institution. Incidentally, the military institution is opposite the Federal College of Forestry Making. Before I go on, I should say this. Sincerest, deepest empathies and condolences to the entire Nigerian Armed Forces, especially those of the Defense Academy, and the families and friends of those who have suffered, those who were killed or abducted or hurt in one way or another by this very unfortunate incident. I'm in spite of our challenges with some of our security officials, we're also aware of the sacrifices that they make for this country. And so many of them, over the years, over time, have paid the ultimate price and still continue to ensure the safety of lives and property in this, to protect the territorial integrity of our nation. And it's a very sad development that these persons had to have experienced this, and those who died to have experienced what they did as well. Now that said, moving on. Now, incidentally, back to the story. The military institution is opposite the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization in Afaka, where 39 students were abducted by bandits on March 11, 2021. Now, the bandits demanded 500 million naira a few days after the abduction. Now, I need to pause there for a moment. You might remember that incident, of the abduction of these students at the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization. Remember that? I'm sure you remember that. Now, it's interesting to note that this College of Forestry is said to be opposite the Nigerian Defense Academy. So a group of people called bandits have the audacity, have the guts, had the boldness, had the temerity, were so audacious that they would attack an institution that's opposite the Nigerian Defense Academy. Nigeria's foremost military university. Not even afraid. Now, it's also striking that could have happened. They could do this if they could attack the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization. If they were so bold, so courageous enough, I'm not sure if courage is the word, anyways, if they were so bold enough to do that they might think, heck, why don't we attack the Nigerian Defense Academy itself? And to ensure that security was beefed up and adequate measures and steps were taken to preempt such an attack and ensure it does not happen. Because, come on, if someone, a group of people, can attack a facility opposite you, isn't it possible that they might think, oh, why can't we go there next time? Now, but they were finally, talking about those students, they were finally released after spending 50 days in the bandits' den. And after filing the report, information regarding the attack on NDA was still quite sketchy. However, there has been a press release. There has been a press release by the authorities on this subject matter. I'd like to read that press release. Security breach of Nigerian Defense Academy architecture. Here's the press release. The security architecture of the Nigerian Defense Academy was compromised early this morning by unknown gunmen who gained access into the residential area within the academy in Afaka. During the unfortunate incident, we lost 2 personnel and 1 was abducted. The academy, in collaboration with the 1st Division, Nigerian Army and Air Training Command, as well as other security agencies in Kaduna State, has since commenced pursuit of the unknown gunmen within the general area with a view to tracking them and rescue the abducted personnel. The NDA community and cadets are safe in the academy. We assure the general public that this unknown gunmen would soon be apprehended, and early this morning they decided to take it a step further, and they were probably wondering, why should we just stop there? How about the Nigerian Defense Academy